It is unusual to find a human being who has so many diverse qualities, somebody who excels in so many different and diverse fields. I'm so lucky today and so fortunate to be talking to Dr. Suhail Chughtai, one such rare individual. Dr. Suhail, thank you for taking the time to see me.
It's a pleasure to be here.
Thank you. May I call you Suhail?
Please.
Yeah. Suhail, can we begin with something you posted on Facebook? And I'll quote that. You said, "A tribute to my late father, Dr. Yusuf Raza Chughtai, a poet, an author, and above all, a father who I idolized." Are you trying to walk in his image?
I think I've always felt, looking upon the way he grew into his profession, by the time when I had understanding of knowing people and seeing their behavior, I felt he was very poised, calm person. I never saw him getting restless, which really I admired. He had many upsets, but he was always very contented. He always said, "It's okay, I'll manage it."
And what made him such a calm and serene person?
That was his personality, which probably developed from hardships. He was a self-made person, and he always had believed in himself. He didn't rely on people's help.
But was he pious, or was he meditating, or was, what gave him that serenity, that calmness?
He was not religiously pious, but he was a religious person to some extent. I remember he used to wake up in the morning, and I always found him sort of waking up in the morning before us. I think what made him very calm was the self-contentment. He was happy with what he had.
Very good.
And he said, "Look, if I get more, it's just blessing, but I've got my family, I'm living without a disability." That's what he said. And I'm happy with that. But if you get more, I'll be blessed. So that something which I was very happy that he was aspiring to grow further in his profession, in family stature, but he was never to a point of being restless.
What a fundamental attribute to have, to be content and to be happy with what you have. He was a doctor. Is that why you followed in his footsteps and became, of course, a doctor and actually an orthopedic surgeon?
Partly, yes. This question has been asked before, and I was inspired by his mannerism in general, but the way he dealt his patients and the aura he carried. He was taken to be a very wise person in the community, not only in the family. He was the first doctor in the family. And then there were a number of doctors which followed in our Chughtai family, my cousins and other people. But he was known to be a very wise, calm person, not being just by a doctor, but also being a person. And then he had the same influence on his friends, on his community around him. And I was impressed by the respect, the degree of respect he drew from people. And I always felt that this is amazing. A person can be so loved.
He was also a poet.
He was a poet, which gave him an extra sphere of people to interact with.
Yes.
People of spheres who are not his patients, not business contacts, not relatives, but purely people who connected to him through his poetry.
And so you obviously has an amazing father you idolized. How was your childhood? You were born in Pakistan? I
was born in Pakistan, but we went to Saudi Arabia and then to England during my childhood, and I was schooled in Bolton for first few years before my father decided to start a career in Pakistan. So yes, I spent 4 to 5 years in primary school in Bolton in London, in UK. And then when in Pakistan, he brought us back in Pakistan, I had to start, he had to start. We all started new, but we were happy and he was happy. And I felt that it was the greatest, one of the important movies did for me. If I had lived here, I wouldn't have had that diverse experience, let alone being a Pakistani national, let alone being living with family. The diversity of experience because of his decision.
It's enriched
I
your
got.
life.
I had experienced my country. I had experienced which is also my country, Britain, and I feel this is an amazing mix.
And I think you lived in Saudi Arabia. You lived in the UAE.
I had spent some time in UAE visiting, but most of the time in England, in UK, and in Saudi Arabia, of course in Pakistan. These are three countries I've lived in.
And can you tell us a little bit about the interaction of those three countries? I mean, they're so diverse, all three of them.
But that is beautiful, that you live in Pakistan, you are surrounded by relatives who love you, who visit you, who love you sometimes too much.
I don't think there's anything such as too much love.
But I always felt that, yes, it's amazing to know that feeling, that you are surrounded by people who can just walk into your home and sit there on the couch and say, well, let's have tea and coffee together. And then in Saudi Arabia, you again start a life. And being a doctor, I used to live in a compound of doctors, where you live with your own profession fellows, and then you go out and then you go into different culture, where there is ubaya, hijab, and women can't drive, men have to go to grocery shops for the shopping sake. And then I came to England, where life was totally different again. Where there's freedom of speech, you can write anything, you can talk to people, women can drive, you can go shopping, you can do a lot of things which Saudi Arabia they were all taken as sins, I would say. So I think what I feel is in UK, Saudi Arabia and Pakistan, the diversity is not just individual level, it's a journey. That once you felt all these three countries by living there, at the end you feel, yes, now what? Because you know that one thing it taught me, that the truth is always has to be an absolute truth. Whenever there is a truth which is relative, like in Saudi Arabia, something is taken as truth, but that actually, when you come to Britain, is no more a truth. No. So
can you give us an example of what you're saying?
For example, the lifestyle of women in Saudi Arabia. Same Saudi women living in Saudi Arabia follow different customs, but when they come to Britain for holidays, and I've known some friends, families who start a different lifestyle here. So what truth are they following? They are following customs, not following a truth.
Very good point. Very good point. And I mean, we are in a sort of post-Brexit time, and we're seeing in this country a little bit of tension on foreigners and immigration. And, you know, in what you've just described, living in different countries and interacting in an international environment, what is your feeling as to what is happening here? And may I say, why is it happening suddenly?
I think as the overseas immigrants, people are influxing into Europe, there is a growing sense of insecurity on both sides. People living in the country, nationals, British nationals, people who are coming in the country with strong values. People who are living here, they feel being diluted. Their culture is being diluted. So they are getting more and more conscious here that what's happening, why the country is becoming so much a mix of cultures. Where is our culture? I think it's, to some extent, it is not an ingenuine feeling. But at the same time, they know that people who are coming in, they're bringing a lot of energy, diversity, wealth, economic stability. So they're accepting that on the face of that. But inside that feeling of growing as a nation, there is a complainsome that why we have to do it to get ahead. But that is the economic requirement of any society nowadays, to have diversity, to interact with business. They say that if the business nowadays, the successful businesses are those which are online, because then they're global. So people in UK, British nationals, they have this insecurity of becoming diluted, whereas the people who are coming in, they bring so much values. They're set in their ways. When they land in a different environment, they feel that, okay, we have come here for economic reasons. Why to lose our cultural values? So they try to express, but while doing so, they over-express. Like a girl who would not wear hijab in Pakistan, she would do it here, because she's trying to over-express and sending a message that to herself as well, that I'm following my culture, following my religion, because here there is a need to tell people and tell herself.
Can I ask you why there is a need to express your differences? Because that's what you just said. It would make life easier if we concentrated on what we have in common rather than our differences, because they polarize our views.
It's absolutely amazing feeling to understand. If someone understands that, a lot of problems will be solved. If people just accept who the others are as they are, rather than trying to change them, the problem starts when we think that only we are the ones right. That if we always assume that, okay, if I am following a faith, and as spiritually the other person has the right to follow his or her faith, and you interact on human levels, not on faith or religious levels, not on cultural. If someone does a good thing, appreciate that. Not because he's your religion fellow or he's your countryman, because you like the work genuinely. Yeah. If you come to that human level, you bypass the cultural rings, boundaries, bypass the religious boundaries. That is a different state of mind.
So I think really what you're saying is that when you look at another person, no matter where he is from or she is from, we're all human beings, yeah, really. Eventually. And if we interact at that level, nothing else matters, really, does it?
That feeling will come only when you stop thinking that only I am one of us is right. That feeling has to go away. When people accept others' freedom of religion, faith, when they can accept the selection of faith is purely by birth. Yes. A person who's born in a Muslim family or a Christian family, that person didn't choose a religion. That person was born in the family.
But they have the opportunity to change.
They have the opportunity to change, but that is again their choice. But let them, Muslims, Christians, Jews, all the Hindus and other strong or majority religions must allow each other to breathe freely. Otherwise, this is becoming a chaotic world.
Yet emphasizing on our differences, even social differences, dress differences, is divisive.
It's very divisive because we are to blame for that, because we have made religion we've given religion a dress code.
Right.
That is so wrong. A dress code is actually a language of religion. And I feel that once you start doing that, you are dividing yourself away from people rather than becoming closer.
I think so. It's a very well put. The differences.
The divinity of religion is it doesn't have a dress code. It is not bound to geographical location. It's the spine of the body. A religion, I believe, is the spine of the body. It makes you go anti-gravity up. And that's it. It's your internal strength.
Very good. I like the analogy and I like the way you put it. Now, there's always a pressure on Muslims, and you are a Muslim, to stand up and criticize those other so-called Muslims who are committing, obvious crime or obvious dehumanizing acts. How do you feel about that? Because that is a difficult one to understand.
It's a topic which has been discussed by many scholars, and daily we hear about this topic in TV debates. I always believe that every religion, not only Islam, has a message of peace. No religion will promote bloodshed for the sake of spreading a religion. It's the interpretation where the problem is, and the interpretation can be driven by individual goals. I believe that the extreme behavior of some faith followers, let be any faith, that is driven by individual goals, and religion is being used as a stick to beat rather than a walking stick. Religion is a walking stick, not a stick to hate people.
Well put.
So as long as people use this as a support rather than a weapon.
So now that you are, if you like, settled in the UK, and doing so many amazing things, you're an orthopedic surgeon, working both privately and in the National Health, I suspect.
And not in National Health anymore.
But what do you think of the National Health in this country? What is your view on the system? It's unique, certainly, but what is your take on it?
It's the largest employer for doctors in the country. It is a good startup for a junior doctor who comes into a system under the blanket of NHS, which has a structure driven by managers, with doctors giving services, and an academic structure to follow with that. But then as you grow into this, as you become more and more senior, gain experience, then you feel the strangulating effect, because many areas of NHS have so much managerial regulations that a doctor will just merely feel a pawn. And that can be swallowed by a junior doctor. But when you reach a point of seniority, you want control. You want to make your own diary to some extent. Senior doctors and junior doctors, the difference in NHS is narrowing.
Sure. I can understand the regulation, because the larger the organization, the more driven it is by regulation. My question was that as a system, it is a unique system for its users. In other words, having medical treatment free at the point of treatment is a great blessing.
I think it's a good model for service, but it's not a great model for the providers. For people who are benefiting from it are the patients.
Yes.
But the people who are feeling that it's becoming too strangulating are the senior doctors,
yes,
who are not being given enough support or room to grow further. I believe that many doctors have felt like leaving NHS. Whether it's right or wrong, I don't know, but I have my comments on that.
Now, would you define yourself as a British Pakistani?
Yes, indeed.
What does that mean to you? For example, do you pass that famous Norman Tebbit cricket test?
It's a very
Which, of course, for the
question.
viewers, Norman Tebbit cricket test is when you go to a cricket match, which we're soon going to see anyway, between Pakistan and in England. Which team would you support at a cricket match?
It's a very interesting question, and I think the tussle between heart and mind is there for centuries,
Yes.
always. I personally would, if you take my Norman Tebbit test, what I will do is that I will support. I will enjoy the game of cricket as a cricket lover and an ex-player. I would support individual players on both sides. At the same time, I will pray let the best team win, the one which performs better. If England is playing against a non-Pakistani team, then I would be a strong supporter. And if England is playing against a Pakistani team, I will be supporter for both teams. Let the best team win.
I somehow doubt that. But there is no that's not really a meaningful answer. I mean, you can support Pakistan, yet not be disloyal to England.
Yeah.
I think
it's both ways. I've actually played some cricket at junior level in national cricket there as well, and which has given me a little more insight into our cricket system. I've felt that Pakistani cricket administration has to learn from British cricket administration, but the raw talent of Pakistan, that has something to teach to British cricket as well. too much coaching in British cricket sometimes can kill the instinct. Let the raw talent come up, and let's shape that talent. Too much coaching can actually kill the natural talent sometimes, as long as I think a good example is John Kenneth Lever, the fast bowler, left arm fast bowler, British.
I remember him.
He took 7 wickets. You played him. He took 7 wickets in India, and he believed the same thing. The raw talent is found on the streets, on the beaches of West Indies and streets of Pakistan and India. Let's not kill them by coaching.
Yeah, I agree with you. But there's a new ingredient in cricket now, which is physical fitness.
Yeah.
I mean, that's become is an important ingredient. The pace of cricket is beginning to increase. It's much more intense.
I think the T20 has brought a lot of changes to cricket. Yeah. Not only in cricket, but the fans of cricket as well. They've changed. They've become like football fans now.
Yeah. And also, families go and, it's much more festive.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not going to ask you for a prediction because, of course, Pakistan are here to play cricket. And, what are you going to? What is your prediction?
I think it's going to be a tough series for Pakistanis.
Yeah.
They have got Amir as a bowler who I think will probably get the English team out twice in one test match, but alone he cannot do a lot. We will miss an off-spinner like Saeed Ajmal's caliber, especially in places like Old Trafford and Oval. But at the same time, if Amir gets before lunch 2 or 3 batsmen out at the start of the innings, then I think we can have a chance to get them out twice one match.
So you're still not making a prediction. So for the test,
I think it's going to be. It's probably good. Pakistan will have, if they draw the series, that'll be an amazing win.
Yes, away from home.
Yeah.
Now, I boasted about your many talents, so we move to your next talent, which is quite remarkable. You are actually a hugely qualified IT expert. How did that happen? From being an orthopedic surgeon and going into this technology?
I was fascinated by what computers can do for human beings, how much time they save, and how much color and flavor they bring to your work. And back in 1989, I bought my first computer. I saw my colleague. He wrote his name on the screen. There was only DOS. There was no Windows that time. Yes. So he wrote his name on the screen and he started moving it, twisting it using a mouse control. And then he printed that name. And I thought, look, this is such a quick thing to do. You used to use typewriters, and you can have a graphical display so quickly. So then I bought a computer, a very basic computer, and the whole hard disk was 32 megabyte. And I bought it for £1,000, which was my salary then. So I had to borrow money from somebody.
Was it a PC or an Apple?
It was a PC.
Okay.
So I bought the first computer from my whole salary and had to borrow money to get by for the month. But then I realized that there's a lot of power in that. So I started sharing what I learned. And I developed a reputation of actually a troubleshooter for many computer-based areas. And that's back in early 90s. And then by 1999, I was teaching on computer-related fields like how to develop applications for businesses, how to use computer for presentations, for electronic document presentation.
Yet being an orthopedic surgeon during the daytime.
During the daytime. And that was a hobby, but people people pushed me to the point. They said, why don't you share it on a bigger platform? So in IT colleges in Lahore, also in British Council in Lahore, I was invited as speaker talking about different IT-related subjects on computers. Even in LUMS, I gave 2 or 3 lectures, which encouraged me, and people enjoyed that lecture, and I felt I was giving benefit to people. Then I did my Microsoft certification in 2001 in Saudi Arabia, and I started teaching there as well in different small universities. And my biggest achievement there was teaching in a Microsoft lab, a 3-day course to a nationwide group of doctors. So I taught a Microsoft PowerPoint course in a Microsoft lab.
So you were beginning to combine your medical expertise and your IT expertise, and I think you're now very much involved in training using technology.
It has so helped me so much in my medical side that I was able to present my PowerPoint slides very well I was able to inspire people that, look, if a doctor can do PowerPoint presentations so good, why can't we do that? So it helped my colleagues as well. And then I started developing softwares. That was the biggest change.
That's what I meant, yes.
That is where the things changed, because I was not doing it for myself anymore. I was doing it for people, not for my businesses, but anything which goes online, people can subscribe to it and start using the service.
So you created your own platform which enables dynamic training to take place. And I think that's fascinating synergy of two quite diverse, in a way, fields of medicine and IT working together.
I think I like to share what I know, and not only to reaffirm that I've learned it, but also to benefit others.
That's very good.
So I thought making a software and providing a training platform where people can log in and train others in different levels of experience. So I developed a platform which is now going to be available very soon. In fact, it is available right now. People are using it. For doctors, it's called medicalwebcampus.com. And that's going to be for lawyers and bankers and different fields it will go. So that is a passion, something which I do with the heart, but brain follows my heart. In my orthopedics, my brain leads my heart. But in this one, my heart leads my brain.
So they're coming together, your heart and your brain.
And they're both helping each other. They're synergizing each other, medical profession and IT.
But that's not the only thing you do, of course. You are also have time to be a charity man. You are Vice President of the Brain Trust. Do you want to say a few words about what the Brain Trust does?
Brain Trust is an organization which does help people who suffer from mental issues, and it promotes the projects which support and help mental abilities. Brain Trust is thought from Tony Buzan and then Ray Keane. Yes. Tony Buzan is a mind mapping scientist, very famous speaker. Ray Keane is the Grand Chess Master, and then Dominic O'Brien, who is a World Memory Championship winner for 8 times. They're all the key people inside World Memory Championship. These people have created an environment where mental health is promoted in the form of games, like Memory World Championship. People go and play games, and they pick up the guy who has the best memory. And then there's a magazine called Synapsesia, which is Synapsesia, which is a magazine which Tony Buzan and Ray Keane added together. That has lots of articles and resource for mental health promotion. So I really love the idea, and I thought it's very intellectual. They offered me the position of a vice president, and I accepted that.
Yes, no, it's an amazing charity. And you also champion, and I think you're president of the World Congress of Overseas Pakistanis. That is correct?
That is true.
And what inspired you to, I think, were you a founder of this organization as well?
No, I was not the founder, but I had known the founders very closely. So we met each other a few times on the programs, and we both felt that putting forces together will benefit each other. So yes, I joined them, and I saw the current chairman of the World Congress Overseas Pakistani, Syed Qamar Raza, working very hard and diligently. I joined him, he invited me, I joined that, and then Arif Anis Malik, the executive director, he also introduced me to Mr. Qamar Raza Syed on these grounds. I felt that it's a great way to connect to Pakistanis. We have done around more than 20 events so far in the last 2.5 years since I've joined them. And 4 of them have been major, where we invited Theresa May, the very much going to be the Prime Minister of the country, hopefully, and then Deputy Prime Minister Nick Clegg was also our guest. So we have been inviting people, and we are showcasing Pakistani diaspora talent to the local British community. So we are engaging from within, like getting occasions where Pakistanis meet, and we are engaging from outside as well. We are showcasing Pakistanis to other nationalities. So it's engagement and empowerment. We are
also integrating.
We are integrating, and it's very important that we should not stay aloof. Otherwise, we will be weak. It's important to economically, educationally, socially integrate with any communities around us.
It's a very noble thing to do and to champion and help.
I'm only
people
contributing, and my role as the president of the World Congress Overseas Pakistani's UK chapter is to ensure that engagement and empowerment philosophy is well acted on.
Yeah.
So yes, I'm very
And
glad to
particularly
be
these days when it's important to have the right image, to say do the right things.
Oh, yes, yes. I think it's the portfolio of organization has grown from members of the board of governors. They have diverse talents, so it's really very good.
You're also, among the many other things you do, represent the Association of Pakistani Physicians and Surgeons in the UK. What is your role?
This organization was introduced to me by Dr. Muhammad Iqbal and the chairman, Dr. Abdul Hafiz. They have been working diligently to get Pakistani doctors together on one platform, and so much energy they have put into this organization that it has been the largest organization of Pakistani doctors in Europe with the widest membership base. So I joined them. They invited me to join, and then they gave me responsibility to conduct the London chapter activities as the president of London chapter, chairperson of London chapter. So yes, I think I've enjoyed working with that, and I felt that the charity work this organization does. Right now they're doing mobile clinics service through an ambulance, which is going into different small villages and providing basic health care.
In the UK?
In Pakistan. So the charity services are focused in Pakistan.
But where there's a great need.
Where there's a need. And plus the educational services are focused in UK. And also we are planning to use clinic online software which I've developed for where Pakistani doctors will be providing service free of cost to Pakistani people who are looking for second advice.
Very good.
Somebody has been given advice to have a gallbladder taken out, and they're not very clear, very happy about that decision. They can take a second advice through an online clinic, which hopefully I will be able to link my doctors here, my organization doctors.
So yet is another example of your IT and your medical skills coming together.
They've actually been married together in so many points that I've actually, it gives me a very privileged position, and I really, Feroze, want to use it for benefits. I have felt that I've been luckily placed in a position where I can do a lot of good work. I want to.
And you can globalize, and people can share knowledge and use it so effectively.
And not only knowledge, through this service, we will be providing clinical advice to people through their looking at their investigations and doing a limited examination through the system, where a doctor can affirm or give an advice that this operation is right for you, and or probably take another advice.
But of course that's not the only thing you do. You also have your beloved TVapex, which is your baby, which is your online television channel. What is the mission of this? If mission is the right word, of course it's a business, but there is a philosophy behind this.
This started as a mission, and the mission part has stayed very prominent throughout. Feroze, you were right. The idea behind was that to provide a platform of showcasing programs of Pakistani diaspora, where how we behave, how we act on social events, how do we celebrate our festive occasions, and then how do other people do that, putting them on the same platform in one community where there are common interests. Take an example of people of Pakistani origin. They like one kind of food, and similar kind of food can be liked by Bangladeshis, Indians, even British. So if you have a food festival of Pakistanis and you share on a platform where there are British programs as well who are coming to watch their own programs, but they can see next door a program of similar nature, they may skip over and passively they can watch that program. So it's like an introduction of a cultural integration between societies living in one country.
Very good.
So it is an introduction and flavor. So I felt that TVapex has been able to introduce many people and many organizations to each other by I think we have published around more than 700 programs in the last
and they're very cultural
5-6 years. Yeah,
very interesting,
and diverse,
programs.
educational, scientific, social, cultural, ethnic. So yes, putting every program of different community who have common interest, and then if they watch each other's program, there will be a passive understanding going on. That is what the objective is.
Just to promote some
multicultural harmony.
Yeah,
that is what we're going.
Very good. Good mission. But you're also a great proponent of online television. Yes, of course there is terrestrial television, but tell us why online TV?
Oh yes, this is actually one of my special interests, and me and Dr. Dada, we were doing a program of online and terrestrial media in Oxford University, so we expressed it very clearly to the students as well. My idea is that online TV has a much wider audience, which crosses boundaries, which is less regulated as well at times, where you can express freely, and at the same time it is cost effective, it's economical to set up, provided you have the passion and you have the simple a laptop, a webcam, you can set up a channel. What I have done is slightly different. I have set up an online channel which is backed up by a video production company. So, and a venue which has an auditorium and studios. So it's a merger of a terrestrial TV channel to a smaller scale, but a full expressed online version. And that is what is helping, because we can produce programs at the same time we have an online medium.
So you have your production company as well.
Yeah.
Again, you're using all the skills, the IT skills, and because you're using it for training, you're using it for cultural, you're using normal filmmaking. So again, you're using, although you're doing diverse things, you're using them together to.
You know, this wouldn't have been easy if I didn't know. If I was not involved in IT, Feroze, I wouldn't have been able to set up a TV. It's so expensive. You involve so many people, and a lot of things will be lost in translation.
Yeah.
So my idea was never lost in translation because I was doing it myself. I was saving money.
Yes.
I was saving my idea as well.
But it's a very, very good channel.
Yes.
I congratulate you on.
Thank you. TVapex is something I've lived in. It's been like my watch, my mobile phone, always with me.
Yes.
For many years.
But of course, yet another skill of yours is the occasional TV interview that you do. Usually you're sitting in my seat.
I think that is easier seat.
And I've seen you in a sort of David Frost type performance from time to time.
I think talking to people, knowing about them, about their achievements is inspiring. I learn a lot from talking to people. I learn what not to do. I learn what to do both. So yes, I've interviewed Jack Canfield, which I think one of my recent points. I love talking to him. The guy is amazing.
Yes.
He actually has so much energy that you can feel that energy exhuming from his conversation.
And do you know why he has energy? I think you asked that question to him, didn't you?
I think he has taken off the limits of impossible, the word impossible, from his life. He's always felt there is a way to do it, provided I want to do it. That approach, Feroze, is not easy to think. It's not just words. If others can do it, I can do it. If others have not done it, there has to be a first time.
So no fear, really.
No fear.
No boundaries.
No boundaries.
Everything is possible.
Everything is possible which has not been done can be done first time.
Yeah. Very good. No, I watched that program, which is very good.
Thank you.
Now, just winding up a little bit into some soft topics. You know, you're as we talked, you're doing so many different things. Is there danger that you become a jack of all trades and not a supreme master? You're certainly master in all of them, but a supreme master in one.
I think at times I've felt it. Opening too many windows on a computer gets hot, so you have to close some windows and then focus on one program. I think it's natural that you cannot go on like this, multitasking for a stretch of time. Sometimes you feel, well, let's close some windows, work on one area. But what I believe strongly, Feroze, is compartmentalization. You can do multitasking, you can do different things in life. If your ambitions are higher, why not use your energy to do everything? But the time is short. So what I do is compartmentalize myself. If I'm writing a computer program, I'm not an orthopedic surgeon. And when I'm doing my clinical work, I'm not any computer specialist. I'm not any software developer. I'm only a doctor there. So this compartmentalization is very important. Segregation.
An ability to focus on the task at hand, really.
I think focusing is an art. You know this too well yourself. You have been meditating. You have been you know how to put the mind at ease. I'm still learning it. Maybe after the program I'll ask you a few tips on this.
I'm very happy to teach you for a fee.
But focusing is difficult sometimes. When you're very over-ambitious, that is sometimes an obstacle to focusing.
But I think at the end of the day we have such a time limit. And then but I agree. I think if you have the passion, then you can do many things.
But I think one thing is important to say here, Feroze, if I may.
Of course.
Sometimes multitasking is a generator for stress, because you feel that you haven't quite finished one thing before you start the next thing, and that generates stress, because everything is not finished. You have started everything together, so you haven't got the feeling of seeing them finish so early. They have to keep going. Like I'm starting a software, I'm starting a company, and they're keeping together. So I don't see the finish so early. It's very important to understand that people who do this thing, do this kind of approach, they have to be very patient to see the results. If you're multitasking, everything will be slower to achieve. Although you will achieve many things, but your progress will be slower in each.
Yet, I think you have demonstrated, certainly to my satisfaction, that not only have you managed to keep many windows open, but you put them all together in a wide screen. And I think that is a genuine talent. I think we can do all different things, but then putting them together in a psychedelic show, if I may put it that way, is a talent. So, yes, I think it is all what you say, but the ability to then bring them together is also a talent.
I think putting together a lot depends on, I also give credit to my family in this way that, sometimes you steal time from family to give it to your projects, and you have to have a very understanding partner, wife, and kids who can actually understand the value of your work. So yes, I have been guilty of stealing time from my family and giving to my work. I accept the charge if I'm taken to court for that, but I know I'll be pardoned by my wife and my children because they know my passion, they know that I love them, but it's just the way we are.
And with that sort of statement, you stole my last question,
okay.
Which was, you have a lovely family, you have a very charming and intelligent wife. Do you give your family enough priority? Was my question.
They are my priority. I'm doing it partly for them as well. I want them to have a comfortable life. Maybe I want to leave a legacy after me which benefits people. I want to leave legacy in the form of maybe some software which can people use, which people can train, people can educate through that, they can spread education, and I love to do that. I found a way of doing so through my software development.
And so how do you keep yourself happy and smiling much of the time?
Actually, it's a very amazing question because, when I feel that I'm losing my sense of humor, that is the first sign of stress. I believe in me, that I'm losing my sense of humor. Okay, I'm being taken over now. That is a sign when I try and fight it.
And how do you come back from that and get your smile back?
I go for a walk.
Okay.
I go for a walk because at that time I am thinking and I'm analyzing myself. Not only benefiting physically, also putting my step count to 6,000 a day, but at the same time I'm making sure that I'm thinking alone, I'm not being distracted, and then I wake up early in the morning.
That's it.
When I want to de-stress myself, I put my foot on the fire rather than run away from it.
And get on with what you have to
I see
do.
what is causing me stress. I wake up early in the morning and I resolve it, whether it's computer work, whether it's documentation, whether it's emails, whether it's analyzing a process. And I sleep thinking about it, and I wake up early in the morning and start finding a solution. Sometimes I'm successful and sometimes I'm not. But I think if we fail, there's a lot to learn from it. So I've never, I've not been afraid of failures.
And last question, Suhail, what advice would you give to young people? I mean, you've had you played cricket, you've done so many different things, different activities. Is there any advice that you give young people who are looking, these days looking for a path, looking for a new career? How would you guide them?
I think young people who are looking for a path, a career which they would feel that they will be successful in, they should follow their heart. There was a time when people used to do things for their parents. You've heard the story that, okay, my father wanted me to be a doctor. Nowadays, kids have the freedom to express that to parents. Look, I want to do that. Do it. Do what gives you happiness. And I believe that people, if they're working without passion, they will not go far in that. They will only earn end-to-end monthly income for running their home. But people who do things for passion, money will follow them. If money is the criteria for success for some, follow your passion. Money will follow you.
What a beautiful place to end our conversation. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
Thank you very much.
I enjoyed it.
Thank you.
Thank you.